Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for us to start another wonderful episode of this show called Idea Dream Home, our third season where we are trying to find the next in line to become Kerala's most beautiful home. 50 entries, and we've already traveled in this journey. I think about 30 odd houses have been complete. Few more to go, and in this process, helping us out figure out which is the best is our expert panel of judges. Let's welcome architect T.G. Ramesh, architect Shaina Rajesh, and completing the panel, architect Ruben Koshi. Well, apart from learning and finding out which Kerala's most beautiful home is, this also helps all of us figure out more about how to go about making our homes better. Our judges help us figure out how to get about making your exteriors, interiors, making the planning, and even to add on features to make our houses better. Especially if you're going to make one of your dream homes, this is the show to watch. Today, our entry that comes into the contest is called the Vazhakkala house. And let's take a look at the visuals, shall we? Show the Vazhakkala house. Ruben, exteriors of today's contesting house.
Well, we've seen a lot of houses like this set a little behind from the road.
This
set
particular
high.
season.
Yeah, this time
Yeah.
it comes quite a bit actually, a little higher elevated plot. Again, nice house, very clean geometrical roof, single story building, a lot of inviting verandas in the front. And you could notice from the long shot that besides this plot, on all sides you had a lot of trees.
Yeah.
So this was, for me, either all the trees were cleared or they just happen to find an empty plot, which I think is the trees have been cleared. So I think they should have, they had a lot of landscape area in the front. Maybe they should have just maintained those trees, because a coconut tree is not ugly by any means. You know,
it only adds to your...
It adds a lot of authenticity to something that's sets in Kerala, you know.
Sure.
So the driveway is nice. At least I'm happy there's not too much of paved area. I think he's also tried to put use a lot of these pebbles, small pebbles, all over. So it gives a, I think when you drive a car, all that, you get a kind of a nice natural kind of sound. And I like the verandas on the side. We'll come to the planning of that. But again, another sore point was that well on the left side. Now that again should have been incorporated somehow with the landscape and not make it so looking. Yeah, not make it so obvious. But other than that, I think it's a very nice house.
Okay, Rameshji?
I think it's a symmetrical house, well set back from the road. And front landscape, I'm not too happy. I think they could have done something more with the landscape. Even some of the bigger trees, as you said, can be retained or by the time of construction or whatever. And even the other areas also, it was not landscaped in a proper way. I think some landscaping, some more. But otherwise, the house is a very simple house with a traditional type of projected porches and inviting, two porches and inviting verandas. And that open sit out has also come out very well, and open sit out also. So from the outside, it's a very simple and worth living.
Worth living there. Perfect. Shaina?
Beautiful things comes in small packages. It's not small in, by any means, but still from the exterior, what you see is a very cozy, comfortable cottage sort of elevation. Very inviting, very warm, especially the color of the roof. They haven't used the normal red or orange color. They have gone in for a brown shade, I think. So that combined with the backdrop of the greenery, the trees, made it really inviting. And the landscape, like Ruben said, we see so many trees all around, but in this particular plot, we did not see any trees. Right. And moreover, I think the landscape was kept very simple. Maybe they wanted to the people passing on the road to see the house without any disturbance. So maybe that's the reason why. Then I really loved the proportion of the roof, the geometry of the roof, the skyline. It was really good. Then the porches, there were two porches. I think one was for parking the car, and maybe the other one was just to take the people to the sit out and take it out probably. Then there was a projected sit out sort of thing where they had a chair, table, where they could sit and have coffee in the evenings. But I often wonder, like most of the houses we have seen this season, like they have long verandas.
Correct.
And I really wonder how many people get the time to sit there and have a peaceful cup of coffee.
Yeah, in today's time and age, it might be difficult. Right, let's find out the beginning scores for this house. Rameshji?
23.
Shaina?
24.
And finally for exteriors from Ruben?
23.
All right, now we move on to the planning segment on the show. I'll start with you, Ruben.
Well, coming to the planning, I think planning, even the roofs have been planned. I like the fact that you have the lower roofs in the front, the higher roof behind, which forms a background for the lower roof. So planning wise, you think of it as a complete picture. For example, I was talking about the sit out on the left side. It's a nice touch where some people you want to see off in like 2 minutes, and some people you don't mind sitting for half an hour, but you still may not want to call them in, So I think he's created different opportunities, right at the sit out, the wider, and then inside formal, and then again you have a family. So you have four types of living where you can bring in people. I really like the foyer as you enter. Very rich, warm looking foyer with the extensive use of wood, very warm lighting, excellent effects. And then you have a formal living on one side, which is secluded. So I think it is air conditioned. So you can have your very formal discussions or meetings there. And then you get into the heart of the house, which is very lively and open. Then planning, coming to the kitchen is a very nice kitchen, but I thought like planning wise, there was a big dining table placed in the middle. It looked big, So I think that should have been a little more scaled down, maybe pushed to one side. And I could also see actually there was a lot of opportunity to add a little more overhead cabinets, to make it a little more functional maybe. Some of the walls over the lower cabinets were bare. Then in the bedrooms actually we noticed a couple of beds were placed wrong. I mean,
in front of windows.
In front of windows, in front of curtains. Somehow you just don't, even though the style of the bed is good, they are not coming into they don't
Prominence.
attract attention because of the wrong placement. So that is always simple. Maybe you just need to change the bed. But I think the planning part a little marred by these small
Furniture
aberrations.
placements. Shaina?
I think planning wise also they have succeeded almost 95% in it. But I really wonder why they need 2 or 3, I think nearly 4 seating spaces.
Because he's
maybe
got a
it's a
lot of
joint
meetings.
family. Yeah, probably. Then I really loved the wide verandas and the beautiful landscape on the outside.
That you can see from the house.
From the house. Then there was a beautiful foyer, like Ruben said, very warm, very inviting, and like you want to come again and again to that house. Then I think there was another foyer as soon as you emerged from the, there was another living room as soon as you emerged from the foyer. But that living room, I thought it served no purpose because some chairs were just placed here and there was no focal point. Maybe they have a reason for that. Then the dining room was very spacious. And I think there was a door towards the sit-out opening from it. I think it was from the dining room. Then the kitchen was very, moderate. It was not too big. Then it was very warm and cozy. The toilets were very well laid out. The TV, there was a separate TV room. I think, there was a separate TV room. That was also very comfortable. But the bedrooms, like Ruben said, again, the placement, the planning of the furniture in the bedrooms were not up to the mark.
Yeah, off late we're seeing a lot of houses where they neglect the bedroom areas.
The problem is, Ranjini, like when you place the bed against the window, the thing is you need bed switches. Where do you place them? Okay. So it will not be proportional. You can't place, then you need bed lamps. Where do you place them? So all that comes into the planning part.
Okay. Rameshji?
As soon as we enter, the foyer is neatly done with the wooden ceiling. That has come out very well. And the exclusive drawing room is also a good thing, like which normally few people have, so that it can be air conditioned. But normally in the other cases, you cannot air condition the living room unless we make it separate, like this glass entry, sliding door. That has come out well. And plus they have another another living area, another drawing room which is open. That's also useful. Like only the important guests you have to bring it into the exclusive drawing room. There is another drawing room for the general people. So the planning part, they have done a lot of homework and it has come out well, except for the bedrooms. Bedrooms, I think they have they haven't given much thought about the bedrooms. But otherwise, it's planning wise, it's good. But another thing, Ranjini, I am seeing, like all these houses are having big verandas.
Yeah.
But one problem you have to really think is that the light will be cut off when you are coming to the veranda. So you have to compensate by the number of you have to add more windows whenever you have a veranda.
Oh, because that much space goes.
Yeah, the light will come to. So in this house also you can see it is lighted when the cameras are taken. So the lights are switched off. You cannot.
It'll be a little dark,
It will be pretty dark.
Okay, interesting point there. Now let's ask for your scores here. I'll start with you, Ruben.
23.
Shaina?
22.
And Rameshji?
22.
22. Okay. Ini, we come on to the third segment, which is interiors. I will ask you, Shaina.
I really love the interiors. Barring a few things here and there. First thing what struck me was the muted earthy tones of the interiors, the wooden trimming, the wooden flooring, the light colored walls, the light colored curtains, the light colored upholstery, everything went well. It was in sync, it went well. It was very pleasing to the eyes, the warm light fittings, everything, nothing was jarring, everything was in place. So you couldn't find any fault with it. Maybe they could have added some more, like pieces of like dried flowers or something to the living room, but that is always possible. Then coming to the bedrooms, I really like the red color of the curtains, the red bedspread. Most people won't agree, but I think red is a vibrant color, and it is good in bedrooms. Sometimes, like it adds life to when you're depressed or something. Then
like we are adding color to our sets right now.
Yeah. Then the wood flooring, they have used a combination of wooden flooring and vitrified tiles. Again, the dark color of the wooden flooring plus the light color of the vitrified tiles went well. One room which I didn't like particularly, I think it was the TV room. They had dark wooden flooring plus black furniture, black sofa sets, and I think they had a deep brown curtains for that room. So I think all that together made that room look a little heavy, and it stood apart from the other rooms. Other than that, I think the interiors have been done really well.
Rameshji?
I like this interior because of few reasons. One is that it's a brave attempt to do a monotone interior. That means they have used throughout one color and the wood, that combination of wood and one color, and very few colors used, but done in a nice way. As well as the furniture, it all follows a theme. There was no indifferent type of furniture loosely selected. It all comes as a packet, all are matched with each other, every room. So furniture selection, my full marks to that furniture selection, and even the brave attempt to provide one color for the whole building. That's
so that kind of keeps it together.
And because actually, when we have the wood and the same wood and same thing, why to change the color? I mean, that way they have done a bold thing, and I like the.
You like that very much. How about you, Ruben?
Yeah, the thing that struck me the most was the consistency in the furniture styles. Right from the furniture in their sit out to the formal living to dining table to beds even. It followed a particular style of that rubber estate kind of furniture, very classic.
Not gaudy, but classy.
Not lines. So you at least you like that part, and they didn't try and go and buy this from there, this from. They went with a theme. So that's a very good thing. Plus the use of wood, extensively wood is used. Even in the cornices in certain rooms, you have a trim on top. So wood has been used very well. The wood has been very well lit by warm lighting, not the tube lights. It's like all warm lighting, so that gives a very extra warmth to the wood and to the pale yellow kind of flooring. Then a couple of things that I didn't like was one was the formal living room just had 3 sofas. It didn't have any other accessories. There was nothing in the corners. I think one corner had a
something
lamp.
I don't know what it was.
One corner was bare. And 2 is I've noticed that not a single wall had a thing called a wall hanging.
They can do that.
Yeah, in terms, you don't have to clutter your walls. But I think certain areas, a nice simple painting, a wall hanging, a rug, whatever. Something could have added a little more, like Ramesh was saying, the monotone is good, but I think in certain places, a little bit of color in terms of a wall hanging or a focal point would have helped, according to me. But other than that, even the family room actually, I think it's pretty good, because even though dark colors, it's a TV room or movie room. You don't want it to be too light, and you generally like dark rooms for a TV room. So I think that gave the effect of a theater, a small home theater, dark furniture, dark curtains, etc. I think that looked nice too.
Perfect. Now let's find out what scores you'd like to give the interiors. Rameshji?
25.
25. Shaina?
24.
24. And finally, Ruben?
23.
23. All right. So this house in Vazhakkala has definitely done well so far, with itsy-bitsy problems here and there, but those are all things that they can change. Now, about anything special that you noticed about the house, which constitutes 10 marks on our list. Shaina?
The warmth.
The warmth. It just happened as soon as you got into that house. Perfect. How about you, Rameshji?
I like the styling, the same style followed throughout the building without much change, and that's something good.
And how, Ruben?
I think I like the timeless quality of the building and the interiors. Because many houses that you see, once you reach, definitely if you reach the bathrooms, okay, this is done in between so-and-so period, but based on the styling.
Correct.
But because of the consistency of the furniture styles, even the bathrooms are very muted. It gives a timeless quality to the house.
So it could be built 10 years ago, it could be 10 years after.
Even 10 years down, you will still like it.
True,
I think that's a very important quality, not to age your building, I think not to periodize your building, not to label your building. Yeah. This is like it can pass off in the next 10 years, 15 years and still look fresh.
Very nice, very interesting thing to note there as well. Okay, so on 10 for the timelessness, what would you like to give
9.
it? 9, a very high 9. Shaina, for the warmth?
I've given 7.
7 for the warmth, and finally for the consistency and style, Rameshji?
8.
8. High scores there on this particular category, but will it help it make our top 5? It's time to find out the complete overall scores for Vazhakkala House. Rameshji, your total?
78.
78, definitely a good score. Shaina?
77.
77, and Ruben?
I have 78.
You. Perfect. So Vazhakkala House seemed to have done really well on today's episode. Quick change you want to make in the house?
I don't want to change anything. I mean, maybe a little bit of the landscape need a little work on, but I think interior is wonderful.
Shaina?
The bed positions.
You would put it properly. And Ramesh ji?
Something more on the bedroom interior, like wall
Interior.
painting, something like that.
Okay, lovely. Very small things. So I think Vazhakkala House definitely has impressed our judges and people watching at home. I think all these things, if you imbibe it into your house, it can make it better as well. That's all we have time for today. But don't worry, we'll be back tomorrow night. Same place, same time, with more information on how to make your homes more beautiful and more importantly, continuing the journey to find Kerala's most beautiful home. Goodbye from our experts and myself here.